Howdy folks, welcome back to Shallow Pocket Seekers. This is a trail cam in behind the cabin. Now, this is during the summer yet here and leading up into the fall. I ain't exactly sure of the dates, but I've had this video put together for a while. I've got a doe in here feeding with her fawn. This is after I planted my rye. And whenever archery season finally did get here, they had all the rye already ate off down to about an inch high off the ground. And we got different bucks in here and different does throughout this video, and I think the bobcats are through here without their kitten. I don't remember the kittens being on this video. But we have the bigger ones coming up and down through this video a couple different times, if I'm remembering correctly, because I've had this put together for months and never got around to narrating it. I started to narrate it one time and it's a longer video, and I got tired, and I was really thinking I had this put together and already put on, but looking back through what I have on YouTube, I don't have this one on yet. So I'm taking the time. It's New Year's Day. We spent New Year's Eve up here at the cabin last night and had some shrimp and sausages and some sauerkraut and mashed potatoes. And then we ended up sitting around playing the new Uno game, which I can't remember what it is called, but my brother brought up a deck of those cards, and we played it for a while, and got a little buck in here. I don't know what he's got, a 4-point or what he did end up being. And another thing I did take notice to, and you'll see here a little bit later, all of the pokeweed growing up in that one, along with that one apple tree in the cage in front of you. Not the one where the deer's, or yeah, even at that one. They get to eating the pokeweed out of both of them at some point of the year here. Another doe in here, probably feeding on the ryegrass too, or the winter rye or cereal rye, whichever you call it. It's not really ryegrass, it's the winter rye that I planted. We had a red fox come through. Doe in here feeding on the pokeweed, and one down at the other looks like she's also feeding on the pokeweed or apple tree, one of the two. Couple fawns in here feeding around. And a couple does back in. And I did take notice that we had a doe or two up here that had their fawns a month or two later than the rest of them, because in some of these later videos you'll see where there's some smaller deer that were fawns and still some with their spots. But we had mama, or at least one mama up here had a set of twins a little later than the rest of them. I think we had another doe that had one falling this year. She had them later. And I do have 2 or 3, maybe 4 more videos put together that I need to get narrated and posted, which a couple of them I'm going to end up putting together to where the video is a little longer. And wandering up through then. And the mock strape I had hanging, the rope that I had it tied up with ended up breaking. It fell down. I need to put another one up, which I didn't take the time to do that this past year, but I'm going to end up hanging 2 or 3 back in the back here sometime over this winter or next spring. Because it did see some use every fall, but it wasn't something they were hitting on a regular basis. You know, if you didn't see what I did when I did it back 2 or 3 years ago, I hung a piece of the grapevine about 7 or 8 foot long on a piece of plastic type rope that ended up getting exposed to the sun too much and rotted in half. Which it was an old piece of rope I found laying around that I tied it up with. And I want to end up going and buying something a little better for next year whenever I do get to hanging a couple more. And the fox back up through. And I have tried a couple different brands of these game cameras, and I like the ones that put the time and date on pictures or videos better. And I think everyone that I have now that has that are Wild Game Nation trail cameras. They're on a Raccoon. So more than likely in the future I'm going to be buying the Wild Game Nation trail cams again, because a lot of the other ones that people have bought for me for Christmas or I bought for myself, you can't get it put on your videos and pictures, or if you can, I haven't been able to figure out how to get it to work on them. And there's one of the Bobcats. And then back down through goes one of them. There's another deer in there feeding. And I did throw, well, the 2 Bobcat shorts that I threw on are this same time period and some of the same cameras. And then the one I did on What Is This, a little short, well, it's not an actual short, it's a little longer than a short, but a shorter video that where once I got it put together, I had it figured out that it was moss flying around or some type of bug, but when I was going through the video clips individually, it had me scratching my head because I was taking this being eye shine and trying to put it down on the ground and then up into the trees and then over into the trees in a different spot. Wasn't making any sense looking at the individual videos. Another doe in here, and I figure they're picking out the rye that grew. A couple more does wandering through, which it may all be one or two or three different does. I still haven't come up with a way of distinguishing between does. Nobody up here has any special markings anymore, like Lumpy Jaw used to have the lump on her jaw. And there's that buck out of Velvet that looked like he was going to have maybe be a 4-point, and it looks like he ended up either a 3 or a 4-point. Looks like he's got wise on the one side anyhow, but he's illegal to shoot in Pennsylvania, so it don't really matter. Got to have 3 on one side. Here, where I hunt at on the mountain. Looks like that doe's just feeding in blueberry bushes, but there may be some rye growing in there too. I ain't sure where all I did throw it. It does look like I need to go back through and with the weed eater and knock off the tops of all these blueberry bushes again back here. And I never did get around to cleaning up any more over where I had it cut out more that I was doing at one point this summer. And I've got one more shot at killing a couple antlers, a couple does up here. Starting tomorrow through the 20th of January, I think it runs. There's a special antler this season in Pennsylvania and in this wildlife unit and another one. And I ain't sure where the other one is in the state, but the wife ended up going home and taking it. Well, I ended up running one dog home and she ran the other one, and I come back up to spend the night and decided to put together a couple videos to where once I do go home tomorrow I can possibly get one posted. And since we got the New Year's activities done up here, I want to get back up here and get working on the cabin some more. So if the weather cooperates, we may end up getting another video or two on putting some boards up and getting the bottom cabinets hooked to the wall and the countertop on it sometime this month, because they are calling for some snow Sunday night and next Sunday, this coming Sunday into Monday, and that would be the earliest that I could go get any boards. And if it's going to be snowing, I ain't going to go try and bring boards up here in snowy weather, because I got to get them here and then get them inside before they get snow covered. And once the snow hits, until I can clean the porch off and at least get it cleaned off to cut them, I can't really do much cutting up here. Another doe in here feeding. And I did switch this camera back to where it had been a couple years ago. I'm a little one, because we did have it up to the right, facing back towards the cabin for most of last summer. And I decided to put it this way because I can watch more of the opening in behind here of the cabin with this direction. Though in there at night, it looks like she's going to be one of the ones eating the pokeweed. Part of me wants to take it out of, get it pulled out of them around them apple trees. Part of me wants to leave it in there because the apple trees seem to be doing fine with it growing in there. And we got, looks like the spiker, that little 3 or 4 point back again. Doe here close, and I don't know what was right there a little further going down through. Another doe. What was following along behind them. Then another doe comes through. And a few more wandering through. Looks like another doe and another falling. So in September here, in August and September, they were coming through here behind the cabin in what little food plot we have, and another one in there sampling the old pokeweed. They seem to hit the pokeweed in the spring and in the fall. Another doe in here feeding. And a couple bucks in here. That one looks to be one like one. That one looks like it might, yeah, one of the 8. Possibly a 7. Looks like it's at least an 8 point, maybe a 9 point. I'm not 100% sure on what I did count. Button buck season. Grandson Mikey come up, and I come up, and it was daggone windy and cold. Our rifle, well, the doe and buck run together this year. Some years they run them together, some years they don't. It's hard to keep track of what's in season and what's not, but we had a bear run up through the ground with no deer that we seen. the first day, and then we hunted the second, and by the third he had enough of just basically sitting inside the cabin because it was too daggone cold to sit out with the wind. And then I ended up staying a couple more nights, but I wasn't sitting out in the wind as cold as it was either, even with a buddy heater in my blind in the back. If you had more than one window zipped open, you had too much breeze blowing through it. It was just too cold to sit out in it anymore. I ain't in need of deer meat that bad. Although I should have been hunting earlier in archery season and should have been hunting more, but had the puppies to deal with this year, where next year we're not going to end up with any puppies at that time if we can prevent it, to where I can get up here and do some archery hunting next year. Spike back in here. And another spike, or maybe the same spike, different time. I wasn't really watching the times on them or the dates. We had 2 or 3, maybe 4 different spikes running around, and 3 or 4 different 6 points, 3 or 4 different 8 points, and another one that was either a 9 or a 10 at least. And not every camera got every buck either, because I was trying to figure them out what we got on each, but it seemed each camera was picking up different bucks. Some of the same ones were going through in front of they're the same camera or different cameras, but not every camera caught every buck. And the red fox threw again. It looks like we've got another doe in here feeding right in front of the camera pretty much. There are a couple of does in there now. Another doe at night. There looks like a little button buck there. The little 3-point looks like maybe yeah, it looks like 3-point back in there again. He looks like he's messing around with a yearling. doe in here. And this is a longer video, and I appreciate the ones who stayed and watched this long, because there's another 11 minutes of it left yet, where we do end up with some more bucks at night if you're wanting to see them. So don't turn it off yet if you're wanting to see them. There goes some of them bugs. And I also want to remember and get some clover and frost seed it this winter. Here in a month or two yet. Squirrel in there running around. Couple does through at night again. If I don't forget to before I leave tomorrow, I want to at least pull my camera down here along the driveway and check it, because I ain't checked it in a while, to see if I do have the deer traveling that again yet or not. Couple more does in here. There's another couple of bucks. One kind of looked like a 7-point, and the other one I ain't sure. It's on the back side what he was going up through there. This closest one's either a 6 or a 7, but kind of looks like he only has 3 on the near side here. They're doing a little sparring in there, it looks like. A little pushing back and forth, nothing. Not trying to kill each other or anything, but kind of makes me wish I had the cameras to have the sound on, but I've tried a few different of them ones, and I've never had any good luck with the microphone working very long. These Wild Game Nation cameras that I do have left have outlasted a lot of other brands that I've tried. Because I still have one of them, and it still records video. It had sound with it for the first 6 or 8 months, but then the sound on it just quit working, but it still takes video fine. Nice little herd of does there. And we had a nice flock of turkeys come through. And I don't know if that's all young birds or whether there's a few older birds on the outskirts of them or something with them. But it makes it look promising that I've been seeing a few more flocks driving up the past couple years, and if this is one old hen with a bunch of little ones, it's looking promising. Another buck, looked like a 6 or an 8. I can't really tell, get a good look at him. He went through too quick the first time, and I don't know if that's the same one or a different one. There's another doe in here at night. This is getting around about time of the start of our archery season. I don't know if this is actually in it or not yet. It's like the first weekend in October when it starts. We've got another group of does in here at night. And that there could possibly be big doe, but without another doe in there to reference, I don't know if big doe's still alive up here, or there was actually 2 different ones. And I don't know if either of them is still actually around or not, because I haven't seen them on any videos with the other ones, which the one in the back here looks like it's bigger than this one out front. To determine whether big doe or that other one that was about the same size, or whether they're still around or not, I don't know for sure. And I just haven't been watching my videos and paying close enough attention to try to put names to some of them to be able to recognize them when I'm seeing them. Couple here in the daytime feeding on what rise in there left, or maybe blueberry plants or something else growing. But and then we got this longer spike that is not the bullhorn spike that we have in some videos, but I don't know if I actually have this one on any other cameras. And this is nice 8. And I don't know what's in the background, but that's probably another buck in there behind. Oh, looks like a doe. Down in front of this camera, and I didn't realize I had him in front of him. We got another 6-point, looks like, coming through behind him, and I think that's a doe in the background. Was in there the last clip, or else it's a smaller buck. Because we have that same 8-point in a few other videos. We got him where he's up close to the camera, sort of like that, and over on the old fire pit trail camera, and then we have him on the other camera off to the side between this clearing and the fire pit trail. The ones in the woods there, we have him on it too, along with the other ones. Which, how many of them I get edited tonight, I don't know. Just have to wait and see. A few more does coming through, and it's looking like this is an August through October video. And then we got some does here through the daytime. Thanks for watching.